This is Lone Star Community Radio on 104.5 KCZW LP Conroe and 106.1 KZCC LP Conroe and worldwide at irlonestar.com.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Jake from Sports Talk here on Lone Star Community Radio 104.5, 106.1, and worldwide on irlonestar.com. If this is your first time tuning in to this circus I call a show, we are broadcasting live from downtown beautiful Conroe, Texas. And this is our 5th episode. I can't believe, I've made it 5 episodes deep, and my station manager sitting across from me right now, the wonderful Dick Chisler. I got to kiss up as much as I can because, yeah, I may not make it to a 6th show. So, but no, we've had a lot of fun so far. I've enjoyed it, and I'm glad to see that we've made some improvements. I actually have followers on Facebook now. Yay!
What's the Facebook page called?
The Facebook page is called Jake from Sports Talk.
There you go. Check it out.
Yep. So if you want to get in touch, get involved with the show as the show goes on, you want to, talk, get involved in the conversation, what we're talking about and stuff, drop me a line, drop me a message at Facebook, Jake from Sports Talk, or send me an email at jakefromsportstalk@gmail.com. Get involved with the show. We're here in Texas. We're going to talk a little football finally for the first time on this show. And the unofficial start to the football season occurred this past Monday. And that was the SEC Media Week was kicking off. And therefore, it is the unofficial start of the football season. And so I'm going to talk a little Aggies and, Longhorns, Aggies. I know you're out there. I know you're strong in the Montgomery County area and around the world. And, Aggies, you're not going to probably like me very much after this show, but that's okay. Get on here and tell me why you don't like me. Tell me why you disagree. And I would love to prove you wrong or at least have a intelligent conversation with you. So, but as we do every week, we start out the first segment and we go through what has happened in the past week. And obviously the big theme that happened this last week was the All-Star break from the MLB All-Star Game, Home Run Derby, all that good stuff. And we're gonna dive a little deeper into that a little later in the show. But for just a quick update, Aaron Judge won the Home Run Derby, and the American League won the All-Star Game 2-1, 10th inning, Cruz home run, and the top of the 10th to give the AL the 2-1 victory. Fun game, and like I said, we'll get into it and. We'll talk a little more about the significance of it now. On a tennis note, we do have the Wimbledon going on. I'm not a huge tennis, fan, supporter, watcher. Dick, do you like tennis? I mean, do you watch it frequently or no?
No. But I like John McEnroe or McAvoy.
Yeah, he's entertaining. So, yeah. But I do like Wimbledon. I that's probably one of the few tournaments.
The movie, dude, that's like a girl movie, dude.
No, hush. You and you movie nerd jokes. I do like the Wimbledon tournament, and so out of this tournament, the big shocker, Nadal got upset on Monday, I believe it was, by Giles Muller. That was a big one, and the other one is Venus Williams. Serena is the dominant sister, the one that's got 23 majors and all that great stuff. But Serena is out of this tournament because she is pregnant and she is not playing in this one. But Venus is playing in this one. And I think she's playing rather well for, not having her sister's eyes competitively on her. And surprisingly well after, what has taken place about a month ago now. And I don't know how many people have heard about this. It wasn't really made, big public news. Venus was in a car accident about a month and a week ago now. I think it was it was about right at either the end or end of May or start of June. She was in a car accident, and unfortunately, the other vehicle that she had the accident with, one of the passengers passed or died in the accident.
But I want to give you an update. Novak lost.
Djokovic lost today.
He lost today. I'm just letting you know. I'm on it.
Well,
I'm your fact checker now.
There we go. Be my fact checker.
So,
To who?
Quarterfinal to Berdick.
Yeah, okay.
Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, and then 5 sets?
And then on Murray lost too.
Yeah, I knew Murray lost. I saw that. 5 sets?
I don't know these. I don't know how to read it. I just know he's blanked out.
He's fucked.
It says.
There's my fact checker, baby. Woo!
Yeah, I mean that's what. Actually, it was weird. It says final on the other 3 games, but on this game it says retired.
Oh.
So I don't know what that means.
Oh, well, that means he might have pulled out due to injury or something.
So
What I'll do is I will go to when we go to our first break.
Yeah, we need to get our people on the field.
Yeah, we'll talk. We'll send it out to McElroy.
It says 7-6
in the fourth.
That's what it says. Upsets second seeded Novak 7-6.
So 7.
Then with a 2 in a parentheses, and then a comma, and then a 2 and a hyphen. See, how are you supposed to interpret what this means?
So that means it was 7, 6.
That means break time when we get to break time.
Yeah, break time. So, anyways, back on. Yes, Venus got into a car accident, and one of the passengers in the other vehicle did die. But the police came out and said this week that she's not at fault, and no charges can be pressed. But I believe that the individuals in the other vehicle are going to still pursue charges. So, or not charges, but sue her in some sort of court line. So now to bring you into the conversation a little more, and this is Dick's strong point, is soccer, and not just soccer, but football, international football. And what we're going to talk about the Gold Cup and everything, but just a quick side note. I mean, if you're a casual soccer fan, everybody knows Wayne Rooney, and everybody knows him from, the Mighty Red in Manchester United, right? Yeah, Man United. And he's leaving. He's finally leaving Man U. He's going back to his home, his original club, right, at Everton.
I think that's where he first got his professional career started, but I think he's also part of their academy.
Oh, was he?
That's actually a big rule in soccer where you have to have so many academy players in your registered squad or homegrown players.
Well, yeah, and so there was a big concern with this move, though, because of the money issue. People were saying that Everton shouldn't do this deal if Rooney's not going to restructure, and it was basically, Man U was going to get screwed over if he didn't restructure as well. So, but they kept it on a tight seal. Have they released what the financial stuff was? Yeah,
they probably won't.
And so, I mean, does this have any effect on Man U? Are they going to go out and get a?
Well, they did. They got one of the star players from Everton. So I think it was $75 million. I think it was.
It was a clean trade, or?
Well, probably what they did was they valued the player who they're trading. It's Lukaku, or I can't really pronounce his last name. He's Belgian. They probably put a value to him, and then they subtracted from the value what they valued Rooney at.
Okay.
And then that's why it was like just, or they might have just canceled Wayne Rooney's contract so he can go for free.
But
there's probably some under the table dealings.
Yeah, there had to be, because I remember they were saying that Rooney didn't want to just cancel out the contract because he was going to lose money if he did that.
He's getting paid like $300,000 a week.
Well, yeah.
So why would you want to cancel that contract?
And then, speaking of contracts, Messi is getting paid how much a week?
Up to $1 million, I think.
$1 million a week.
I think now.
I should have been a soccer player. I could have done it.
Well, he's also probably the greatest. He's like the Wayne Gretzky of soccer, though, which is when you have the great one playing currently, you pay him.
Yeah, but okay, you look at the value. So basketball players right now, NBA players, their sport is currently bringing in $7 billion a year of revenue. NFL is bringing in $13 billion a year of revenue. NFL is a way more dangerous sport compared to the NBA, and yet the NBA players are getting more guaranteed money. There's 21 contracts in the NBA that are guaranteed over $100 million in the contract. There are 0 in the NFL that are guaranteed over $60 million in their contract. And you look at the comparison, and then you throw in soccer. So now soccer players are year-round, right? I mean, they don't have technically an off season because they play
international, and they play that. Really, it comes down to they pay him per week. That's their pay structures per week. And with the Messi, though, his brand in itself is probably more valuable than one NBA team.
I wonder what they're,
because they just came out with this thing where Ronaldo could get paid $400,000 per Instagram post. So there's a value to Cristiano Ronaldo and his Instagram followers. So imagine Messi, who's even more popular than Ronaldo.
That's stupidity at its finest.
So, well, no, hey,
No.
if it's bringing that kind of money, then
Yeah, no.
the number one on Instagram I read, it was Selena Gomez, and she makes like 500,000.
But see, who pays her?
Well, it's like if I'm a makeup person or if I'm a product placement person, and I just go to these people and say, "Hey, wear my T-shirts," and all that kind of stuff.
But I mean, I am such a supporter of, players getting paid and going out and getting as much money as they could possibly get, because, people are always like, oh, well, he should take less money to make the team better. I'm never going to tell anybody to take less money or not go to this team.
Well, it depends on what they want. I mean, that's one thing, that the fine line in sports, and that's why I love soccer, is they always want to compete at the highest level. Now, in the past 3 or 4 years, the new thing is China. China now has a lot of money, or they want to spend a lot of money on soccer, and they're paying these people triple of what they've been making, and they're just an average player. And they're paying crazy amounts of money to get them over there, and they're not average. Because if you're an average player in a professional soccer, you're pretty good. Yeah. So I'm not taking that away from them, but yeah. So
I mean, because I know me, if I was in a situation where another radio station called and said, Jake, we want you and we're going to pay you $1 a day.
No, triple the amount you're making today.
I would be out of here in a heartbeat.
Well, that happens all the time, but then you have players like Messi, who's probably never going to leave Barcelona because he was raised there, literally in a sense, he was raised there.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's why they're paying him that kind of money.
So, okay, well, we just got the 3-minute signal. I want to dive in with the Gold Cup and the U.S. performance against Panama earlier this week, and then what you think they're going to do against Marquistador or whatever.
One of those other Central American countries. No, the one thing I love about the CONCACAF Gold Cup is how thuggish the games are. Like if you watch the game, and a lot of people expect USA to always win, and they're okay at soccer, folks. They're okay, and which is good. It's good to be better than the rest of the world who play soccer, because I think they're like number 32 or something ranked in the FIFA.
We're that high?
Yeah, we're pretty high up there.
Wow, that's impressive. I would have guessed.
But
the 50s.
with CONCACAF, the people, they have the reputation of being really thuggish players. Central America play rough. And one thing about this game, you were talking about the game earlier, how we should have lost that game. And I'm like, there wasn't even one yellow card throughout the whole game, which is really hard to do in any professional soccer game.
But I think if you look at the average American, just average consumer of soccer who's not a big soccer fan, they probably like that version of soccer a little bit, a little more physical. No? I mean...
It is, but it also, it changes the style of play.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the stuff isn't the fundamentals that they're running the game. It's more of just, we have to react because we don't know how to, it's chaotic. You're getting people who are just pushing you around and you have no idea where the ball is going to go because you just got tripped. And if you watch the replay or if you watch the recording of the game, you'll notice most of the breakaways happen because somebody got thrown on the ground and no one called, the ref didn't call anything. And it's just kind of like, half the time the players are just raising their hand like, what just happened?
Well, yeah, but I mean, there's some entertainment to that as well, yes. But from a diehard soccer fan, I can understand where it's like losing out on my quality
people complain about
soccer.
the diving, and there's a reason why people dive, because they get pushed around like that. And if they're not going to call it, like probably one of my favorite videos to check out on YouTube just to see, type in Lionel Messi never dives. And of course, he's probably dived once in his career, but these videos are compilations of people like literally jumping on his back and pulling him down. He's only 5'7". He's a tiny dude.
Yeah, he's not a big guy.
And these defenders are 6'3", 6'8", and they're just literally piggybacking on him to bring him down. And that's like what people have to do. He's so good. That's the only way to defend against him is to throw him on the ground. And I was watching one of them, and I was like, how are these people just not getting cards? Because it's so obvious what they're doing. Like, they're putting the hand on the shoulder and just pulling them down.
Well, yeah. So thank you for sticking around and talking about that. I know you've got, station
Well, the game's
stuff.
tonight.
So
it's at 8.
I guess what's your prediction for tonight?
Oh, we're probably going to score 2 goals. And the other team, I mean, that's one thing that I don't like about Americans. The Americans in soccer is our defense isn't as well structured as Italy or anything like that.
Well, that was the problem I saw with the Panama game. Their defense just looked terrible.
Oh yeah, our goalkeeping is not very good. Tim Howard's no longer playing, and so it's just kind of, if you don't have that kind of great of a player, at least in the defensive area. It's,
When he was a leader too. This goalie doesn't look like he's too much of a leader.
no.
So, all right, guys. Well, we're going to go to a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little NBA madness. Stay tuned. Don't forget, you can follow the show on Google Play, SoundCloud, or not SoundCloud, Google Play, iTunes at Jake from Sports Talk, and go check me out at Facebook at Jake from Sports Talk, or email me. Get involved with the show. Get involved in the conversation. Let me know what you think is going to happen with the soccer game tonight. All right, guys. We'll be right back.
Don't forget to download the Lone Star Community Radio app from your Google Play or Apple Store. Bring Montgomery County's community radio with you anywhere with your smartphone or tablet. If you are in the Conroe area, tune in on FM. That's Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1. If you are on the computer, bookmark irlonestar.com as your internet radio station. A Lone Star Community Radio. Broadcasting 24/7 from the heart of downtown Conroe, Texas.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Jake from Sports Talk here on Lone Star Community Radio, 104.5, 106.1, and worldwide on irlonestar.com. We were coming out there real quick at the end of the break. I was up against the clock there, so I want to quickly repeat that. Yeah, you can download the Lone Star Community Radio app on Google Play and iTunes, and you can follow this show specifically on both of those platforms as well, on any Android or Apple product. You can follow this show on Facebook. Hopefully we'll have, I'm working on a Twitter and even potentially an Instagram. I'm talking to a sweet lady about that, maybe expanding the social media platform for the show. But then as well, go like the station, Lone Star Community Radio Station Facebook page as well. There's tons of great content here on this station. A lot of it's community based, and that's the great thing about the station. It's a wonderful platform for just people to get involved. And I mean, I can't thank Dick enough for just allowing me to be here and having my own show and that sort of situation. I mean, that's great for somebody in my shoes and in my position. So again, Dick, thank you. I really do appreciate it.
All right, that's it. You don't have to do anymore.
But real quick, back onto the Messi making $1 million a week. What would you do with $1 million a week? What would you buy? What would be the first thing you'd purchase?
I would purchase insurance on my body. That's what I would do.
On your physical body?
Yeah, because I don't know how the pay structure works if you're injured. I don't know how that works. I mean, you're working at $1 million a week. I got to protect that $1 million a week.
College athletes do that now.
So yeah, I mean that's the only thing. That's probably the first thing I would do, and then I would try to use that branding of $1 million, get paid another $1 million from Nike or something. I don't know.
You're boring. You did no trips, no exotic cars, no.
Well, I guess what the scariest thing I can't imagine being an athlete, but it's also being in any type of competitive job market would be, you got to be worth that $1 million. So he himself probably has to do a lot of training. He's a small dude, and
I mean, I get it. Yes, there's endless.
But when you make that kind of money, it
preparation.
doesn't matter what you do because you're always going to have the money. So either I spend it now or spend it later. I'm always going to have it because I'm making $1 million a week. So
Okay, well, an answer I was kind of looking for, like what I would do.
ice cream for everybody? Is that what you're looking for?
I would take my grandmother to Ireland and
Oh.
take her back
Oh,
to her
that's so
home
sweet.
country.
That's
Yes,
so sweet.
I'm hoping she's listening right now. She
And
could
on
write me
that
in the wheel.
travel, you get held up and someone shoots you in the leg. And then, because Ireland, everyone knows how dangerous that area. I'm just kidding. I'm
They
just
actually
kidding.
came out with a report that in Ireland they took the leftovers from the whiskey distills and they used it to power a car and to operate a motor vehicle. And they were saying that like 10% of the whiskey that comes out of those distilleries is actual whiskey, but 90% of it is leftover waste. And they said they were trying to see if they could use that waste.
What
to,
does this have to do with
I
sports,
don't know,
dude?
nothing, but it's cool. It's an interesting thing.
Did you want to drink it?
No, I do love whiskey, but we can power cars on whiskey. We'll be drunk driving constantly.
Oh, it smells so bad.
All right. Anyways, yes, back on to our sports talk. NBA madness. So NBA Summer League is going on right now. Markelle Fultz had a sprained ankle over late last week for the 76ers, and everybody from the Sixers organization just held their breath, couldn't believe what they were seeing. But even the coach who was at the game said he wasn't too worried about the situation. Once he saw the replay of it, he knew it wasn't a high ankle sprain. He knew it wouldn't be anything more than a couple of weeks. But you're having performances. I mean, Fultz was playing really well. Jason Tatum for the Celtics has been dominating. Lonzo Ball has not disappointed, and he's living up to Daddy Ball's, large mouth and cashing some large checks. And then the Kings situation with De'Aaron Fox had, outperforming a lot of expectations there as well. And so I think the only one that is not panning out right now is the draftee from France for the Knicks. But the question there is that everybody's been asking is, should these high-end, lottery draft picks actually participate in the D-League, or not D-League, in the Summer League throughout the summer, and should they actually compete, or should these teams force them, saying, hey, look, we're investing a lot of money and a lot of time into you and into making you the next, LeBron James, quote unquote, but should they have the right to sit them out and say, no, you're not going to play in our summer league? And me personally, they're going to play no matter what. It's a lot similar to, who was the pitcher this offseason? He had a motorcycle or a dirt bike accident, and it's one of those things where it was a freak accident. It wasn't intentional, but look, these guys are going to do things, they're not going to just sit on a couch for, months on end, go and lift some weights and then come home and sit back on the couch. That's not what they're going to do. That's not their lifestyle. They're going to be active and doing things. And some of it's going to be stupid things like riding a dirt bike. And some of it's going to be productive things like playing basketball, whether they're playing in the summer league or they're playing pickup hoops at a gym or at a basketball street court. And it's one of those things where you're not going to control them. You're not going to keep them from having a basketball in their hand, having a football in their hand, having a baseball bat or whatever. And you're not going to keep them from if they're making $1 million a week, and some of these guys are making more than that a week, they're going to go and they're going to live their lifestyle. They're going to go to Vegas and they're going to be an idiot for a night, and they're human beings. They're adults. A lot of these guys are in their mid-20s. I mean, with basically a deep pockets, and they've got money to spend. And so I guess I would rather them be under my supervision, even though the head coach isn't there actually coaching these games, and even though they've got the trainers on hand and everything like that, but the full coaching staff isn't there. I know that they're under our team's supervision, and I'd rather them be playing under our team's supervision rather than playing b-ball with some guy who wants to be in the NBA and thinks he can make it and is trying to, prove himself. And he goes out there and he hurts Fultz and takes him out for a year, and that's not like something that wouldn't happen. That's a probable, situation. So I would rather them be playing under my team's, faculty supervision and in an organized NBA league where I know they, they'll make it through, I guess, essentially, hopefully unscathed. But other than that, the summer league is pretty pointless. The random teams always win because the big names don't ever play in it. And so, I guess people claim that it's a good tell for the future, but in reality, it's not, because so many things change and everything as far as like trades and free agency and stuff that goes that way. And so speaking of free agency, we're now in post NBA free agency and everything like that. And everything I've been hearing basically for the last 2-3 days is, one analyst after another saying, well, this is my winner and this is my losers for the NBA free agency, who did what and everything. And so basically the consensus came out that the winners of NBA free agency were the Thunder, the Celtics, and the Kings. And then the losers were the Cavs, Knicks, and Pacers. Okay. First of all, you can't say that anybody is a winner or a loser in this sort of situation. In this particular free agency, there is no point in having this conversation. There is no point in giving your opinion. Everybody with, half a brain and the ability or a platform to share their opinion has shared their opinion. And I can guarantee you every one of them is wrong, because nobody, or at least none that I saw, said that they're the correct winner. And the correct winner is Golden State. And they're the winner because they took $9 million off of the table for Kevin Durant, and Kevin Durant still signed a contract with them. They re-signed Curry, and that sealed their fate for another year guaranteed of a championship. And so there is no winners. There's only one winner, and that's Golden State. And then as far as the losers go, yeah, okay, the Cavs didn't make the moves they needed to make. And it probably is going to lead to LeBron saying adios at the end of this upcoming season. The Knicks are just terrible, and their front office is awful, and they can't get anybody to, come in and take their, interview process serious for the GM position. And the Pacers, yeah, they lost key players, and they took on 2 terrible contracts that's going to put them in the hole for a lot of money. But come on, nobody improved enough, and nobody was going to improve enough. The Rockets got a lot better, but a lot better is not good enough to take down the Pacers. And so it's a wash, essentially. And unless something major happens in the injury department for the Warriors next season, then this is all just meaningless and irrelevant. And I can't believe how big of a deal everybody is making about the free agency period. It's been fun, and I've enjoyed it, and it's been entertaining to see where pieces have fallen. And if the Warriors weren't what they are, it would have been a very entertaining offseason. It would have been a very entertaining 2018 basketball season. But unfortunately, it's not that way. So, all right, guys, we're going to go to a break, and we're going to talk the All-Star game and the Home Run Derby and everything when we come back here on Lone Star Community Radio, 104.5, 106.1, and worldwide at irlonestar.com. Don't forget, guys, come find me at Facebook at Jake from Sports Talk. Drop me a chat. Let me know what you think. Get involved in the conversation, or send me an email at jakefromsportstalk@gmail.com. All right, guys, we'll be right back.
Our talk shows and music shows are looking for sponsors. Want to expand your brand awareness? Reach the hyper-local audience in Montgomery County? Lone Star Community Radio sponsorships accomplish this. Want to see our stats and rates? Check out irlonestar.com/sponsor for more information. Or call in and leave us a message at 936-647-3776 with your questions. Get seen on TV, YouTube, and heard on our podcast, FM, and internet radio. Support your local radio station with Lone Star Community Radio.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Jake from Sports Talk here on Lone Star Community Radio, 104.5, 106.1, and worldwide on irlonestar.com. Glad to have you back in for the third segment. We're going to talk a little All-Star baseball game. Send me an email, guys. I want to know what you thought of not just the outcome or anything like that, but of the overall general importance of this game. I was talking to somebody, I guess it was Tuesday or Monday or whatever it was, and they were telling me that they didn't know that the importance or the significance of the game had been stripped away from the All-Star break, or from the All-Star game, and they didn't realize that, now this game was essentially meaningless, whereas beforehand, if you didn't know, beforehand, the winner of the All-Star game determined, who had home field advantage as far as play or style of play for the World Series. And so now they stripped that title away, or that consequence away from the All-Star game. And I use the word consequence, not reward, because I personally think it was a downside. It was a bad thing. And why, in my opinion, I don't understand why something that has no impact on, regular season play or anything like that, why that should determine anything to do, or why that should have anything to do with the the playoffs. The playoffs, World Series wise, it just makes no sense. So I went on my high horse last week about that. And if you missed last week's show, make sure you go over to YouTube or Google Play, iTunes, all the four, whatever episode we're on now, 4 episodes previous. All of those are up on those platforms, and you can catch up on all the shows and everything like that. And then this show will be up coming probably at the end of the day or tomorrow, one of the two. So, but anyway, so yeah, I mean, outside of that, the All-Star game, it was a normal baseball game, and there's nothing special about it. But what I actually did like, and kudos to Fox here on this, and I don't say that very often. I'm not a huge fan of Fox Sports Productions. I don't like what they do with their football. I don't like their commentators for that. Obviously, Joe Buck is involved in that, but I don't like how they do the U.S. Open. I think they've ruined that golf tournament, which is terrible because that's an awesome golf tournament to watch and to go to and stuff. But, Fox makes it nearly unbearable to watch, and I can't watch with audio on. I have to turn it off. But one thing Fox did yesterday with the All-Star game that I truly liked was they mic'd up the outfielders, and the broadcasters were directly communicating with these, talking on live camera while play is going on with these outfielders. And Bryce Harper was one of them. Who was the other one? Springer. George Springer out in the outfield as well. And it was a ton of fun to see how they set up and everything. They had the camera directly on them, and they would ask them a question right as the pitch was coming, and the players just completely ignored the question. And, you saw them get ready and everything. And it was just really neat to experience that with them and stuff like that. But I want to take it to the next level. Baseball. That is a very advanced, intuitive sort of platform. And that is very modern and ahead of the curve sort of thinking that, Fox put into play. And I want to do that for every national broadcasted game. I want to have not just outfielders. I want to have infielders mic'd up. I want to have pitchers. I want to have catchers. I mean, imagine having in the middle of a game, your pitcher, you're talking to him, and as he's staring down at the catcher, he's getting the signs, and he's shaking off a sign, and the commentator, God forbid it's Joe Buck, but if it's Joe Buck, is asking him, why did you shake off that sign? And he says, the catcher doesn't know what he's talking about. This isn't part of our game plan, I just think that comes from a compelling aspect, it would just be so much fun to watch. Or, even like go back to the Red Sox, Baltimore Orioles conflict at the beginning of the season, with the Manny Machado. You have Manny Machado mic'd up at the plate, and you're in his ear, and he's responding to you in between pitches, and he's getting thrown at, he's getting beamed, pitches flying by his head. You can hear the whiz of the ball go past in the microphone, and he's getting all hot and heated, and just imagine be able to communicate with him after he gets hit by that pitch, and he's taking his base and he's walking down to first base, and whoever the commentator is having a personal conversation with him about getting hit and what he thinks about it. It's the next age of and I really think that's where sports broadcasting is going. It's getting that direct, pure, unfiltered, and obviously the 7-second delay. They'll have to put the bleeps in there and all that good stuff. But I think that's a really cool idea, and I like that Fox did it for the All-Star game. I think it gave it an extra element. But as far as the lack of importance, that this game has, I don't think it took away anything from the appeal of the game. At least from a player's standpoint, they played like it was any other game. I mean, you look at the pitchers. That was a pitching duel. It was, it was a kind of a boring baseball game to watch because it was a pitcher's duel. And if you aren't, a super baseball fan, you're probably not going to enjoy that game as much as, the diehard fan is, because there was less offense. But, it was still a really good game. And those pitchers were going out and they were giving it their all. They were, they understood that, hey, I'm in here for an inning, maybe two, or even less than an inning, a half an inning or whatever it may be. And they were throwing, high heat up in the upper 90s. And I think Sale had one pitch at 100. And then you looked at the Red Sox closer, Kimbrel, who almost blew the game in the bottom of the ninth for the AL team. And you could see the frustration on his face. He wasn't getting the calls from, Joe Webb, who was the umpire at home plate. And you could see that, that was really frustrating. And they got, second and third, 2 outs. And Kimbrel went up there and did what Kimbrel does. And he struck out he struck out the batter and everything like that. And it was a great at bat. And you saw the passion from it. And I hate to, show my Red Sox fandom here, but Mookie Betts turning the double play in the outfield, making the throw from, making the catch in the outfield and throwing it into second to get the tag out. When the runner made that move, you know that runner was thinking, oh, this is an all-star game. He's going to, lollygag this. No, they took it serious. I mean, he took it seriously. He turned that double play. But then, and then you look at Cruz going up to home plate, Nelson Cruz going up to home plate and asking Joe Webb, who is not my favorite umpire. He's got a terrible strike zone in my opinion. He's definitely a batter's umpire, but he's called over 5,000 games. Yeah, over 5,000 games now in his career. And Nelson Cruz, took a second to, have Molina take a picture of Cruz and Webb together and to admire the fact that, Mr. Webb, umpire Webb, has been a part of this game for that long, and the history is so rich there with him. And so, they were still able to have fun with it. And I think it was a better experience than what most people probably would have, expected. And so I'm curious. I want to know what people, really think. If they think that, hey, look, this is, was this as good as was it as compelling? And did the players try as hard as I think they did? In comparison to years past where this actually had some meaning. And I think the managers took it just as serious. I think that, I think that overall, all around, minus Miami's fan base or Miami's citizens not really showing up for the game, which, I mean, a lot of people kind of expected that. No fan in that state of the Miami Marlins in general, in that city, likes the owner of the Marlins, and I think most of them are pretty happy that he's selling the franchise, and good riddance as far as baseball is probably concerned. Home run derby, kind of disappointed. I wanted Stanton, I wanted Judge, I wanted head to head, and Stanton showed up and pooped his pants. I mean, got knocked out in the first round. I was very disappointed in that fact, and but overall, the home run derby was great, and the new format I love. I would make a few more tweaks to it. One would be don't make that first round head to head. I want to see just 8 batters go up, 4 minutes on the clock. Every batter gets a full 4 minutes, and then top 4 advance. You do the 30-second bonus time there if they hit over. I think it's what was it? It was 440 feet twice. You get 30-second bonus. I love that idea. I love it. It made it really, really exciting. And then from there, you do a head-to-head sort of competition. But outside of that, I mean, I loved it. Quick stats from Judge, who hit the ceiling twice, once in warm-up and once during the actual home run derby. They didn't know what to do. They didn't know how to rule the call. They didn't know the umpires or the officials that were calling the home run derby. When it hit the home run, or when he hit the home run, it essentially hit the ball and it hit the ceiling. They called it not a home run, and I disagree with that. I mean, if you went high enough to hit the ceiling and that far away to hit the ceiling, that thing was probably going to go into the atmosphere and join the International Space Station up there. But yeah, so Judge overall of the total thing had 47 home runs, which fell short of actual Stanton's from last year. And then his longest ball of the competition was 513 feet, and overall the entire distance of all of his home runs combined was 3.9 miles. That is incredible. All right, we have to go to a break, and my engineer is pushing me towards the break right now, and I want to make one more note about the All-Star game. The American League average age of their starting roster was 26 years old. Think about that. 26 years old is the average age for the American League All-Stars. Starters. Just the starters, not including everybody that was in the background. That's incredible. The future of baseball from a player standpoint is ripe and ready, and I think they've got some bright futures ahead of them as far as the sport is concerned. So hey, when we come back, we're gonna talk football. I'm so excited. First time on my new show, we're gonna talk football, and I can't wait to get around to it. You're listening to Jake from Sports Talk here on Lone Star Community Radio, 104.5, 106.1, and worldwide on irlonestar.com. We'll be right back.
Lone Star Community Radio is looking for those who are interested in hosting their own talk show. With monthly and weekly slots available on Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1, and on irlonestar.com. Start your own podcast, create your first YouTube channel, and be on TV. Contact Lone Star Community Radio online at irlonestar.com or call the message line at 936-647-3776 to take your first step into the radio world.
Ooh, gives me chills every time I hear it, man. Oh, football season is close. We're so close. August is around the corner, less than 2 weeks away. And I know 2 days will be starting up soon for the high school programs and everything like that. And then, we've got SEC Media Week going on right now. And, just the fact that football is back and here and ready. Dick, I'm going to probably take this Friday off, or not this Friday coming up, but the Friday before the start of the college football season. LSU is playing here in Houston against BYU. We're playing the Mormons, and my buddies and I actually bought tickets to it today. So it's going to be a full out party all weekend sort of situation for that. So I may have to take that Monday off too as well, but we'll see. We'll get around to that when that comes around. But yes, I'm so excited. Got my LSU Go Tigers Geox, baby. Woo! For the opening day against BYU. I'm really excited to just to get out there and tailgate and smell that Cajun cooking. If you've never been to an LSU tailgate, I wouldn't recommend going to a road one. Not just that it's not great. It's going to be fantastic and it's a ton of fun. I've done a couple up at the Jerry World up in Dallas. But if you've never been to one at Baton Rouge, go down there, go get involved. Just, if you don't know anybody, go walk around. People will invite you up to their tailgate. They'll invite you to eat food and stuff like that. And that's not to, brag on LSU because I am a Tigers fan. Go to Ole Miss. The Grove is wonderful. A&M has a fun tailgate, life too. UT, not so much, but A&M, great. I love their tailgating life. Alabama. I have yet to go to an Alabama tailgate. But I hear it's wonderful. I hear it's awesome. But if you ever get the chance to go to Baton Rouge, go try some true gumbo and jambalaya and crawfish and they're cooking it fresh there. And you walk out there and the smell, the aroma. Oh, there's nothing like a Saturday at Death Valley in Baton Rouge. So but that's enough of my Tiger talk right there. So, overall, SEC Media Week has been pretty slow starting. Nothing major has really happened up to this point. The fiasco with Ole Miss and their recruiting violations from a few years back, and the sanctions that are being alleged right now by the NCAA. Ole Miss has come out and said, look, we're not going to comment a whole lot on it, because we really didn't do anything wrong here, but that's about the extent of what we're going to say. So, that's outside of that, that's about the only juicy story that's really occurred so far. Nick Saban had a press conference and he made his little Saban jokes, dry and humorless and no emotion. And he cracked one smile, I think. But, overall, it was your typical coach talk. Yeah, we blew it last season in the championship game. We didn't finish, which, was shocking, but it opened our eyes that we got to learn some few things here and there. But from just a pure SEC football standpoint, looking at, who is favored this year out of the East and who's favored out of the West. Out of the East, everybody's saying that it's Georgia or Florida. I think Florida's got the better team in that, and I am going to go ahead and say that, Florida's going to take the victory there. And then out of the West, it's going to be the same thing as every year. We're going to beat each other up, and we're going to get through, probably 4 or 5 games where it's just going to be compelling football. And then towards the end, it's going to, slowly drop off because we're all going to be tired. And at the end of the day, unfortunately, as much as it pains me to say this, I gotta go ahead and pick Alabama to win the West again. I mean, A&M doesn't have a quarterback, and their quarterback situation is as big of a mess as LSU's is. Not that I don't trust Orgeron to put together a solid offense and to run a better offense than what Les Miles ran. I just don't. I don't trust. They haven't earned my trust yet in the quarterback position, and they've been terrible in that department. They haven't been able to recruit in that department. And I'm hoping that the purebred Louisiana boy that Orgeron is will be able to change that pattern. But as of right now, I can't say that I trust them to go out and win 11 games, 12 games, and win the SEC overall. And then if it does come down to Florida versus Alabama or Alabama versus anybody in the East, I don't think Tennessee is going to be there this year. They're going to have a drop off from what they did last year. Missouri's not going to be anything to be concerned about there either. So, I think whoever comes out of the West, I think they're going to lose to, Alabama, anybody who comes out of the East is going to lose to Alabama in the West. Unfortunately, again, it goes against my purple and gold blood that's flowing through my veins. But, there's a difference between being a fan and being a realistic fan. And, I'm a pretty realistic fan. So overall, other than that, outside of the SEC, and guys, look, SEC is the best conference head to toe, in my opinion. And I know that's going to spark up some controversy, and I'm sure some people are going to be out there yelling at me, oh, you're dissing the Pac-12, you're dissing the Pac. Yeah, well, you're right. And, Big Ten is another great conference, but I think you're going to see a lot of down performances compared to where we were at the past couple of years. Michigan isn't going to be as good this year. Michigan State's not going to be as good this year. You're going to see Ohio State come pretty strong out of there again. And I think that I would probably favor right now Ohio State over Alabama to win the national championship. I think they're going to have a lot of those young guys come back, and they've got a very strong returning team and everything there. So big matchups week 1. Or one of the biggest, we got a minute, so I got to close this out. One of the biggest matchups week 1 to go back to the SEC is going to be Alabama versus Florida State. Florida State has one of the most one of the largest returning classes in all of college football. And to see how Alabama comes out week 1 and faces what is going to be a prepared team in Florida State and the Choctaw over there. We'll see how that plays out. That's going to be a fun game to watch. But I will be at Reliance Stadium, ready to go for that LSU game. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, hey guys, you've been listening to Jake from Sports Talk here on Lone Star Community Radio, 104.5, 106.7 worldwide on irlonestar.com. If you missed anything, guys, go get the recording. Go watch it on YouTube. Go download it on Google Play or iTunes. Follow the show at Facebook at Jake from Sports Talk. And follow the station at Lone Star Community Radio. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next Wednesday. Better than ever. Thanks for checking out this podcast of Lone Star Community Radio, Montgomery County's community radio station. If you enjoyed this recording, make sure to check out our past shows online at irlonestar.com or their respective video or podcast formats on YouTube, Google Play, or iTunes. If you have any questions regarding the show, either it being about sponsorships or questions for the host, contact the station manager at dick@irlonestar.com or call the station at 936-647-3776. This show was recorded in downtown Conroe, Texas at the Lone Star Community Radio Studios. And Lone Star Community Radio reserves all rights to this recording and images.